Andrew McGregor here for Severe MMA.
The pride of Limerick, the young man named Sean Sheehan.
The Severe MMA people that are coming to the local shows way before everyone else. To see them coming up and they're getting their shot, and I'm proud that people are coming up with me.
Episode 60 of the Severe MMA podcast is finally here. Andrew McGregor joined, as always, by my beautiful host, Sean Sheehan. How's the form, Sean?
Not too bad, as you just heard there.
It doesn't matter what the form is, because we need to thank BeanieBasher.com. It is a fun, addictive hand-eye coordination tool for martial artists and for people who just like having a bit of crack. You can get them at BeanieBasher.com. They are £10. They ship worldwide. They are absolutely great fun. They're going to become big in Irish MMA, Sean, because we've had a lot of I've seen a lot of tweets. Irish MMA fighters ordering one, different gyms ordering them. I think, look, I don't want to jump the gun here, but it could easily replace a conventional warm-up for a mixed martial arts fight. Just do a few rounds in the Beanie Basher before you go out.
Yeah. I'm building a man cave as well. I need my Beanie Basher for my man cave. I'm just got one. You have my one actually, don't you?
What?
Just got it off you.
Do I?
Yeah, you fucking do.
I have. Look, there's 2 in circulation at the moment around the northeast. Yeah. So I will recover them, and when I see you next, you'll get a Beanie Basher.
Sweet.
If you too, from listening to that advertisement, want one, once again, BeanieBasher.com, £10. It is absolutely great crack. Great videos going around. Decky McAleen is the king at it so far. He can even elbow it. So that's like, I can barely get a couple of punches together. Actually, do you know Barry Quayle, Sean? The guy that does
the name.
Yeah. He sent me a video of him doing it, 45 seconds. And I think the best thing about it, aside from the fact it is a fun hand-eye coordination tool to improve speed and agility, is watching people's faces while they do it, because they usually stick their tongue out or contort their face in some weird, like, focusing way to be able to hit it consistently.
And imagine it's one of those things as practice makes perfect. The more practice you get, the better you get at it, kind of.
I would
like,
say
like anything, I suppose. But
like tying your shoelaces, walking upstairs, cycling a bike, swimming without armbands. All of those things needed excessive practice for me.
Yeah.
Anyway, how is the crack?
Yeah, no, it's okay now. You were here on a Thursday? What day are we? Tuesday afternoon.
Tuesday afternoon, yeah.
Gloomy looking outside. You know,
it's not great,
much,
to be fair.
Yeah, not much MMA going on. Not much news. You know, Limerick lost to Clare at the weekend. Depressed enough. Man United won though, so that was okay. You know, hurling.
Yeah, you're meant to be good at that.
Well. And Limerick had to win to get. There's a bullshit league. You know, there's like a League 1A and then a wee League 1B, and Limerick got promoted a few years ago, and then they changed the whole thing, and Limerick got fucking demoted again, and we haven't got promoted since. So we had to be clear to get promoted at the weekend, and we lost. So terrible.
So obviously they were right, because you're not fit enough for the biggest division.
No one cares about the league. Limerick are good when I get to the championship. Well,
the what?
Relatively. Championship.
I don't know. You're being fairly biased there, I think.
Well,
towards the county.
Where are you from? You Loud, is
Loud, yeah. No, don't even bother bringing up. Yeah, the final, is it?
Remember that time Loud were like, yeah, was it the final? And they had a real bad referee. Was it Loud? The referee's
Loud
decision, and then the guy chased the referee down the pitch. Remember that? And
a local man.
That was hilarious.
A local hero, Sean.
Do you know that man?
I don't know him personally, but he's a local hero for his actions. You know, defending Loud's honour in Crow Park like that. Yeah. Come here, we had a nice wee interaction there to delay the podcast in the McGahan household.
Did you? Why? What happened?
So, you know the way my brother's a county councillor?
Yeah.
So we had my auntie at the door. She lives on the street behind us. And you know, local councillors that deal with the bread and butter issues of Dundalk. Apparently, right?
Yeah.
St Mary's Road is what it's called. They're in uproar. The people that live on the street, they live across the road from a secondary school, which is currently getting redeveloped massively. So all of the builders park in that street. Like there must be about 100 builders that are working on this every day, like, because it's just the school needs to be up and ready and going by September. So you can barely get a parking spot on it as it is. Now it would take you a good 7 minutes to walk from one end of that road to the other anyway. So the council rocked up this morning. The diggers are there. They're putting a cycle lane on the other side of the road where all the cars park. So there's no houses on that side of the road, but all of the houses on the left, they can barely get parked outside their own house now. But what's it going to be like when there's a cycle lane on the other side, removing a full length of parking as well? Like, it's a war zone to try get around there when the schools are out. Mothers double parking in SUVs, just people thinking they own the road. So she was round this morning. She was like, "Where's John? Where's John?" And I was like, "He's down in Longford or something like that. I don't know what he's at." And she was like, "The council are there. They're digging the road up already. They've got the bollards. They're putting down another cycle lane." There was the mothers and the concerned individuals all had a meeting this morning in one of the houses about what was going to be done to stop the council putting up the cycle lanes. They're a hindrance.
Is your aunt going to chain herself to the road now or something like that?
Look, I said to her,
Funny.
"We're going to have to get extreme here." And she's like, "Just get John to ring me as quick as possible so maybe he can stop it." And I was like, it just made me realise, like, when we went on about politics last week, you know, we realised how you and I would probably fix the country if given the opportunity.
Easily, yeah.
But local politics, people don't care about what party you're with in local politics. They care about who filled the pothole in the quickest. Yeah. Who got the kids stopping loitering around that area at night smoking amber leaves, and who is going to be the one to tackle the cycle lanes first?
Sorry, you might want to cut that out there.
What? Your sneeze?
Sneeze, yeah.
Nah, you're grand.
Listen here. Listen here.
Listen here. I'll tell you what to do.
I'm of the mind that unless you're like a Taoiseach or a minister or a Taoiseach and you're working in the Dáil, you should be working for your local people. Like, I think the Healy Rays are great men because they get so much stuff done for like their locality in Kerry. Like, I wish we had a politician like that here. Like, these boys going up there, guys covering lads from my jurisdiction, they do fuck all. Like, what are they doing? Sitting above in the fucking Dáil doing nothing, voting on commissions and stuff. They get stuff done around here. Like, they do nothing around here either. Like, I'd way rather have a politician that's good for like the locality, because what's the point? What are they getting done? Like, before
new traffic lights in Limerick.
But like when fucking John O'Donoghue was Minister for Sport, he was from South Kerry, and I used to live with boys in South Kerry in college, and like they were all telling me about all the new things. Like, they had this brand new fucking golf course built, and they had this huge sports kind of complex built. I was going there once, and it wasn't even used. It was like going dilapidated on this big fucking sports complex they barely use.
A velodrome or something mad like that in South Kerry.
Yeah,
a cycle track. Dundalk got a similar thing with your man Peter Fitzpatrick. The GAA clubs, I believe, his own club got a fair good chunk of allocated money from the government.
Yeah.
But
when I was doing in economics, I don't know, was it in college or was it in school? But we
Sean
did like
Sheehan drinking game, folks. He just mentioned economics.
We're talking about fucking politics, but we did this study on like all of the ministers for sport in history, and the allocation of money to each county, and like every time it was like 10 times the allocation for their county than the previous government had given them. Like John O'Donoghue was the worst ever. Like
100% of the budget.
I'll say, like, if Kerry had gotten like just made up figure like 2 million for sport in say 95 or whatever, and then he came in 96, then they got like fucking 80 million for sport. It's just like mad. It's
beautiful. That's what you need. We need openly corrupt politicians, Sean.
Bit of
look after your own.
Anyone.
No, it did not. Bit of backhanders never hurt anyone. I have to say though, one, because I meant to address it at the start of the podcast. Yesterday, up in Dublin, I went to this guy Gary Vaynerchuk. He's a social media guy. He's made a lot of money online. Bit of a hustler, saying all these deals that he's done throughout the years. Was an internet marketer before internet marketing was a thing. Invested in Uber, invested in Twitter, Airbnb. All of these were early companies. He thought they were going to be great. He gave one great bit of advice. He said the first thing you should be doing every day, he does it when he's on the toilet having a shit, go on to the App Store and see what the top 140 free apps are, and download them and use them and play with them and see, is this going to be good, is that going to be good, and use it. And he thinks Snapchat is very, very active. So Severe MMA is now on Snapchat. So just, yeah.
Okay.
So there you go.
Is it actually on Snapchat?
Well, by the time this podcast is released, it's going to be on Snapchat. And
I'm on Snapchat too, Sean Sheehan BA.
Sean Sheehan BA, at Andrew McGahan as well. But assuming some prankster hasn't already taken the Severe MMA Snapchat account, that we'll update it on the Twitter podcast, on the Twitter feed anyway, with what our Snapchat will be. But he did a Q&A afterwards, had the patented red and black on, stood up, last question, 650 people there. A couple of boys started heckling, they were like, woo, woo, when I started saying the worst opening line in the history of introductions.
Yeah.
Andrew McGahan here for Severe MMA.
Oh, no.
No, I didn't actually say that. I said, my name's Andrew McGahan. I work with a website called SevereMMA.com. And then there was a bit of a and I just turned around and I was like, cheers, lads. But then after it, swarmed. Where's Sean Sheehan? Love the podcast. Great work. Keep up all the work. Big fans of the podcast. There's a lot of business people that listen to the podcast, Sean, and I don't know why, because we talk shit.
We do, in fairness, but like, who else is brave enough to come on here and talk shit? Put this stuff out there
about the economic issues that need to be discussed
that we haven't a clue about. Yeah, exactly. Who else to do it? Oh, actually, as well, I must give an apology to Ken Early last week. I said, I said he was in Minsa, and he actually wasn't in Minsa. I actually found out. I realised who told it me. It was my friend Dahi told me like years ago that he was in Minsa, and he is known for making up bullshit. So I just took it as fact, and I just never even questioned it.
Excellent.
But Ken got on to me. He listens to podcasts as well, so I saw man.
Ken actually, I just retweeted him there because he said the Netflix algorithm knows me so well, and it's a screenshot of his email, and it said, Ken, we've just added a TV program you might like. It's called Jane the Virgin.
Jesus.
It was like, oh, great man. He loves Janes. That's all it is.
Do you ever get those emails from Twitter that said like people you might like to follow?
No, because my Twitter was set up with a Hotmail account that is currently afcandrew@hotmail.com. Facebook and Twitter is all through that, my old email, so I don't have to get notifications about stuff.
I always get them for like, follow Sean Sheehan. Like, I'm Sean Sheehan. Why would I follow myself?
It's follow the other Sean Sheehan.
That other guy, oh yeah, nice guy. But yeah, I have like 3 emails. I have my UCC email account, which I've connected to my Gmail account,
fan mail,
Yahoo account as well. I was like, I wish I just had one account. Like, it's just, I had the Yahoo for ages, and I gave that like bank.
Why did you have Yahoo?
I don't know. And it was yahoo.co.uk as well to make it worse, because when I set it up, it was Yahoo Ireland. It was Yahoo UK and Ireland, and I had no choice but to take Yahoo. I'll tell you how long ago it was.
Is there a Yahoo.ie now? Because they've Dublin offices.
No, but I think now it's just you get a yahoo.com email. But back then, if you were in the UK and Ireland, you had to take .co.uk.
Come here. I know we've talked about it before, and you weren't the man to ever use MSN Messenger.
M&M concert, is it?
What?
M&M?
No, MSN Messenger.
All right, sorry. I thought you wanted to talk about the M&M concert.
The one in Slane that you went to?
The one wasn't in Slane. It was in Punchestown.
The one in Punchestown. The one that took you so many hours to get to and back, and it was the greatest thing ever because there was so many people at it.
Yeah, it was class.
Great, man.
Go on anyway, MSN.
I was actually going to take it. I was like, you didn't use MSN, but I was also on Yahoo Instant Messenger.
Yeah?
Yeah, because
I remember that.
Back in the day, right, there was a website called Pogo.com. Now, as you know, Sean, I'm a bit of an 8-ball pool shark at the moment, right? Have you got that app?
No.
Fantastic game, right? Just pretty much mini clip pool on a phone, and you play against people for coins, and it's ruined a good part of my day. Like, my productivity levels, which were already embarrassingly low, are now just non-existent.
You'd be better off now editing a few videos or putting up a few articles now.
Would you believe, Sean, to my right, my MacBook is opened and video interviews are rendering as we speak.
Good man.
So there you go. Up yours, Sheehan. Anyway, I was I used to play 8-ball pool on this website Pogo years ago, and it was a great website. Now, I would completely advise having now how technology is going, I 100% will not be letting my children on the internet in the future, because I was exposed to the depths of it from being just a nerd that liked going around different places on the internet, right? here's the things that I found out about as a child. I used to play 8-ball pool. That was fine. I was in a little league. We used to communicate through Yahoo Instant Messenger about setting up matches, and it was a league called True Cues. It was a family-friendly league, and that was fine. There was no swearing.
You're the biggest nerd ever, aren't you?
Yeah, completely. Like, look.
Go and kick a football or something.
What? I was shite at football. Left back on the bench. What? So yeah. So it was a family-friendly room. That was the room I was allowed to play in because it was there was no swearing and stuff like that. So that was sound. They were all cool. One day I decided I'd play chess because my first internet experience was my dad bringing me to an internet cafe to play chess against someone in New York who I found out years later let me win because my dad sent him a message beforehand. So I've never forgiven my father for that. But decided, yeah, chess is born. I'll play checkers, right? And to my horror, right, aged maybe 12 or 11, the checkers room on Pogo was full of people who wanted to have cyber sex with each other.
Jesus. Putting in pool 6 to good use, I suppose.
What? No, this was checkers. So literally, I went in to try play a game of checkers, and the chat, like there was so many people in the room, and I was like, right, going in here, definitely going to be able to play a bit of checkers here. There's a lot of people in the room, and all the comments were like, 16 female Ohio room, whatever, open. And I was just like, what is this? And then it's like loads of people talking about it. So I Googled it, and at the time it was a hybrid. It was a hub of cybersexual activity on the internet, right under the noses of Pogo.com.
Madness.
Yeah, age 12. And I had already a fair idea on it, and that was because when we started first downloading music, did you ever use WinMX?
Something anyway.
WinMX back in the day had a chat function, and I tell you what, it's not the place children should be allowed to go into. There was chat rooms all over the place on WinMX, and you were finding out awful shit. So I think I was scarred as a teen.
Do you remember the first song you ever downloaded?
Yeah, it was either Outkast, Hey Ya.
Oh yeah.
Or Bowling for Soup, Girl All the Bad Guys Want.
That's a bit new. I remember myself and Patrick, we got a computer first. I think it was Napster we went onto, and we downloaded Infinite by Eminem.
Napster had been illegal by the time I started downloading music.
Oh yeah. Do you remember the first video you ever watched on YouTube?
I don't.
The first one I ever watched was like a 3-minute highlight video of the 1999 Champions League final, and that was like the only video I watched for like a month, I'd say, on YouTube.
Probably that song.
What am I going to watch?
The Barthez song.
Oh yeah, tune.
Or no, there was a video that did the rounds in Dundalk. It was everyone's flashbox on Bebo, and it was on YouTube. I'm actually going to find it and send it to you. It was about this guy in a local estate who was recording his mate doing solos, and a guy was coming past on the bike, and he was like, "Here's some crazy dude in a bike," and he kicked the football at the bike, and your man went over the handlebars and started losing it at the kid. And then the mother came out, and your man hit the kid, and the mother said, "He's after hitting my child." And he was like, "Get away from me, you fucking knacker. You having a tooth in your head, you toothless bitch." All of this stuff. It was quality. It was Dundalk's biggest introduction into the internet, I'd say, at the time.
Dundalk's on spot. I was actually, speaking of Dundalk there, I was, I mentioned earlier, I'm building my man cave, and I was going to buy,
yes, looking for I saw your two fridge tap combination.
Yeah, I want one of them. But I was I'm putting a little bar into the corner, and I was looking, there's this class like bar for like an old one for sale in fucking Drogheda, €200, and it's like they're for sale other places for like a €1,900, like $2,000 and stuff, the exact same one. So I might have to make a trip to Drogheda, Andrew.
There you go. I'll meet you halfway. I'll meet you in Drogheda, even though it's the Shelbyville of Loud.
Dundalk.
It's in Dundalk.
In Dundalk.
Unreal. Yeah. Maybe I'll just buy it to annoy you from my shed.
Do. But I'm going. It's going to be a class York. There's going to be man cave discussions here on this podcast for the next 6 months.
Excellent. Do you know what we could do then? What? We could do a live podcast.
Oh yeah, I'm going to be doing the podcast in my man cave when it's done.
Are you?
Yeah.
That's beautiful. And now we're hitting the obligatory 20-minute mark, Sean. Beautiful. Because we did warn everyone. We did warn everyone. We're on an MMA slowdown at the moment.
Yeah.
So if we're going to make parallels between the United States and Ireland, we might as well go from the Stockton of Ireland, which is Dundalk, to the Stockton of America, where Nate Diaz is probably sitting on a fat cash pile of money, and he's about to double that.
He is. The reaction to this fight being it wasn't. Did
we talk about this last week? The fight was announced afterwards. Oh, beautiful! It
was afterwards. Yeah. It wasn't announced officially, but Ariel said it, so you can take that as good as official that it's happening. I thought your reaction to this was absolutely insane. Like, it was just pure negativity. Like, we don't want to see this fight. How is this fight happening? Why is this fight happening? I was like, Jesus, I actually couldn't believe it. Like, I was like I said it here last week, and I said it, on Twitter and everywhere, that like Frankie Edgar's a fight that should have been made, and I still think that's like I'd rather see that fight personally, but. If you can't understand why this fight is being made, you need to change your thinking. Like, it's just this fight has been, and it's not exactly like it's an egregious matchmaking or anything. Like, a big favourite who is a champion lost to a huge underdog. Like, those are the sort of fights that are rematched, and it's not one of those rematches that's like, Cain Velasquez against Verdum, where, he dominated him and nobody really wanted to see the rematch because Cain was out for so long before that and all. It's not like, Weidman versus Rockhold, where like Weidman kind of, he needs some time to recover. This is, if like that first McGregor and Diaz fight, like if you didn't watch that and say, oh, if I saw that again, it could happen differently, you actually don't know what you're watching. I think I was talking to Graham about this. Like, people have the weirdest ideas of that fight. Like, they have ideas like half the people think McGregor just like
typical severe MMA hanging off Conor McGregor's nutsack. SBG.
I'm doing the opposite of that.
Oh my God! No, I'm only joking.
I'm doing the opposite of that now. Like, half the people think McGregor just dominated and got tired and lost, which isn't true. And another half of the people think Diaz dragged him into his game. That's what wanted to happen, and he won. And McGregor will never have another chance if they fight again. Diaz will win easier because he'll have full camp, which also isn't true. Like, that fight, that was a weird fight. Like, it could, like, something like that could happen again, but I don't think it would. Like, if they fought 10 times, I don't think a fight similar to what happened in the first fight would happen again. Like,
me neither.
I think McGregor could knock him out in the feet. McGregor could, not knock him out and then get taken down and get submitted. Or Diaz could use his range and dominate on the feet. If he fought a different kind of fight than he fought in the first round. Like, those things could happen, I think, in a rematch. So, like, why not make it? I wanted Frank Edgar as well, but this isn't exactly, this isn't fucking like a joke of a rematch. Plus, we know why the UFC are making it, because the first one drew 1.5 million viewers on pay-per-view, and they're going to make the money. Like I said, this is the fight that needs to be made, and it's the fight that needs to be made because of that. Like, people were like, how do you mean this is the fight that needs to be made? What are you talking about? You're such an idiot. Okay. Oh yeah.
Well, they were right about one thing.
Ever. Yeah, true. It was the biggest fight ever, right? Biggest drawn fight ever between your biggest star ever and a guy that's,
not a needle mover. LOL.
Like, Nate Diaz fans will definitely want to, Nate Diaz fans, when it comes around, maybe not at the moment, will definitely want to see Nate Diaz fight McGregor again. Like, I think this reaction was very kind of, people are calling it a short-sighted fight, which, it is. Combat sports is a short-sighted sort of thing. This is the fight. If you made this fight, if you didn't make this fight, right? No. And Nate Diaz, I think, would lose probably to RDA again. He'd lose to Robbie Lawler. Like, McGregor has a tough fight against Frankie Edgar coming up. Like, if any of those guys lose, this fight is gone. Like, the biggest money fight you've ever had in the UFC probably is gone. And they already, they already missed out on Holm versus Rousey, and I don't think they want to do it again. So look,
they missed out on Anderson versus GSP.
Yeah,
this is like you've made some probably. I obviously that I hate complimenting you, but I think you've made probably in those last couple of minutes some of the best points that you've ever made in 60 episodes of this podcast, Sean. So fair fucksy on that. There's a couple of things that I want to touch on from that. Do you like people that are annoyed? Yeah, fair enough. I really want to see Conor fight Frankie Edgar.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
And that is a fight undoubtedly that I think would be an absolute classic, but it doesn't draw 1.5 million pay-per-view buys. And people that think Conor exclusively brought in the 1.5 million against Diaz are completely wrong. Do you know what I mean? Even from when Dana said that Diaz wasn't a needle mover, and all of the facts within a couple of hours come out to show that actually Nate Diaz is in fact a needle mover and a big star. Now, instead of 11 days, we have 3 months hype of this fight. I agree that the fight should happen again, just from those point of views. But also, I want to throw out something towards the end of this. I want to throw it out now and you react to it at the end of my couple of points. This fight, the best case scenario for Conor is that it doesn't main event UFC 200 and that it's a 3-round fight. Okay? So just remember those 2 points for the end of it. But people that are going on, man, Aldo didn't get a rematch. Aldo should have got a rematch, blah, blah, blah. Well, no, he shouldn't have, because Aldo wasn't able to compete. Aldo physically wouldn't have been healthy enough to be able to compete within the time frame that Conor was going to get back into the cage and fight again. Do you know what I mean? Fair enough, Aldo does deserve a rematch sometime down the line, but he didn't deserve a rematch within 3 minutes of being knocked out unconscious as bad as he was knocked out. That's undoubtable. Also, Conor, in terms of fighting Nate again, I've spoke about this so many times in the podcast. The UFC is no longer this honourable Bushido code where the best fighter fights the best fighter and the best fighter gets the most money and is rewarded the best. You know, it's not that anymore. It is a business. If the rumours are true, if the UFC, if the Fertitta brothers do want an NFL team, if the Fertittas are angling towards selling the UFC for a rumoured valuation of $6 billion, what they need to do in terms of when they come to the boardroom, when it comes to these meetings of chalking out the deals of how much the company is actually worth, they can turn around to whatever investment group are considering buying it and say, boys, if you play your card right, you will get 1.5 million pay-per-views on this fight. No one wants to see Uriah Faber fight Dominic Cruz again. I'd rather see a TJ Dillashaw rematch, but Cruz and Faber will draw more than Cruz and TJ. Do you know what I mean? The fights that the UFC are making now are geared towards big pay-per-view numbers to make them look like an attractive property for someone to buy them. So they can say, look, if you play your cards right, if you stack your events in this certain way, if you promote your key fighters in this way and put them in the money fights that people want to see, as opposed to the fights that maybe make the sense for the division long term, you're going to cash in. That is exactly what the UFC are doing now. I just can't see them not doing it any other way. They're chasing the money, and they're right to chase the money, because for so many years they had the option and the possibility of maybe these big fights happening, and now as fans people have just done a complete U-turn. The same people that were crying for Anderson Silva to man up or George St. Pierre to man up and fight Conor and fight each other are now giving off that the UFC are capitalising on super fight opportunities. Because I agree with you, the fight can go completely different. Conor and Nate could fight 5 more times in their career and no fight would look like the first one. Every fight would look different, I believe. Yeah. It's scandalous. And there was a great, we spoke about it, we broke it down at depth. Conor's shot selection maybe looking flat-footed, not being as good as he's looked in other fights. We don't know what happened behind the scenes. We don't know what was happening all the time. We don't know if he just went out, if he got tired early, if he blew it, if he just was focused on knocking him out with the left hand. When has Conor McGregor ever been a fighter that looks like the same fighter in his next fight? He's always adapted, he's always evolved, he's always improved his game. When he faced the struggles with Holloway about fighting a guy who's similar to him, he went away even though he got injured. But then he came back in the Brandao fight and the Poirier fight and he looked like a completely offensively different striker because he was able to change and adapt his game in that time. Do you not think within a couple of months that the guy who has done so much in the UFC at this time already and shown outstanding ability and skill and technique would not be able to formulate a game plan around beating Nate Diaz over a 3-round fight or over a 5-round fight?
Yeah, but I don't even think people are thinking about that. That's fair enough, and I think if most people thought about that, they'd probably agree that it's going to be a different fight. But in the actual making of the fight, this is,
or the UFC just put it out there to see the reaction, and they're going to make the Edgar fight at 200.
No, I don't think so. They need a special fight for UFC 200, and this is a special fight. McGregor versus Edgar isn't a special fight, really, is it? It's just another title defense. It's a great fight. All MMA fans would love to see that. You know, I want to see it. You want to see it. Like everyone probably listening to this podcast wants to see it. But like, we're a small minority. Like, fans of the sport, big hardcore fans, are a small minority of the people who watch it. And like that in itself isn't a good reason enough to make the fight. To not make the fight, if you know what I mean. Like, there has to be other reasons why this fight should be made. Like, if it's just like, oh, it's gonna, like you said there with TJ and Uriah, like, it's gonna draw a little bit more, so that's why they're making it. It kind of is like that. But for McGregor and Diaz, if UFC 200 wasn't coming up, I don't think it'd be made straight away. But they need something special for UFC 200. They want to maximise the revenue coming in there.
Exactly, because of how they've stacked the events leading up to it. It's like, we got a question that we're going to get to later on. It's looking like it could be an underwhelming enough card, bar the big draw. Like.
I don't think it'll be underwhelming at all. To be honest, we don't know half of what's coming up yet. But another thing as well on the 145 pound division, the amount of outcry there has been. They're holding up this division. With
the division we didn't care about until Conor McGregor became notable in it. What would somebody think of the fighters?
The sanctity of the 145 pound belt has taken the biggest U-turn that's ever happened in sport. Like, nobody gave a shit about it, and now, and look, those people have a point.
Like when Jeff Hardy was the hardcore champion.
Just make an interim title between Aldo and Edgar. Easy. Put it on UFC 200. Have them fight for the interim title. If McGregor wants to come back, if McGregor wants to come back, then in November, let him fight whoever the interim champion is. If he doesn't, let him vacate it and let whoever wins the interim title become the champion. That's fair. Like, people say he needs to vacate now. He fought 4 months ago. 4 months ago he fought. 4 months ago. And people want him to vacate the title.
Hang that man in the village and strip his belt.
And it's not just because it's Conor McGregor. This is ridiculous. Like, this, we want. This is not a super fight, but we want these big fights to happen. Should Anderson Silva have fucking vacated his title because he went up and fought a light heavyweight?
James Irvin.
Like, I know this is.
Is it James Irvin?
McGregor's. He fought a couple of times. He fought Stephen Bonner. But the thing, like, I know this is McGregor's second fight at a different weight, but it's because the circumstances changed. Because Dos Anjos pulled out, it's because Diaz had to step in, and because he lost, obviously. So, like, circumstances have changed. It's not like I've abandoned 145 and I'm never coming back. That's not the case. That could have been the case if he had fought Dos Anjos, beat him, and become the champion. Then he could have said, "Okay, I'm staying at 155. This is my division. I'll vacate the belt then." That'd be fair enough. But that's not the case at the moment. The circumstances have changed, and it needs to be put on. That division needs to be put on hold for this fight to happen. Like, as I said, make the interim title. I think there's no harm in that at all. Edgar needs to fight. Aldo needs to fight. It'll appease both of them. Someone will become the champion. That's fair enough. Like, Aldo and Edgar are both wanting a rematch, or both wanting to fight McGregor. Aldo rematch and Edgar for the first time, but Edgar has already been beaten by Aldo. So, like, they both have a say as to who should be next. I think they both have a fair say, because Aldo, okay,
triple threat.
He did get knocked out, but like, let them fight for it. Let them fight it out. I have no problem seeing that. Like, you're not really killing off a contender, because there's so many fights for McGregor to have that, they're basically just lined up. Like, if he fights, say if Edgar wins, then he fights him. Like, McGregor's not going to stay at 45 anyway. I don't think he'll go straight up to 155 if he beats Edgar or whatever. And if he doesn't, then you have a rematch again, or you have Aldo, or there's plenty of big matches there. So, like, these guys, I think these guys just need to. They need to fight. Like, Edgar and Aldo can't turn into Tyron Woodleys, just like roaring at, like getting on Ariel's show, like roaring, saying, "Oh, next for a title fight."
Who's did you put up something about Woodley being booked, or a good fight for Woodley next?
Yeah, Neil Magny.
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah.
I'm just browsing Reddit and this just came up. You know the UFC fighter Johnny Case? Did you see that thing, the screenshot that he posted?
No.
So this guy was trolling him on Facebook Messenger, like sending him messages. Now you want to try date someone even after your weak ass loss, she's gonna laugh at you just like everyone else. You tapped out with 15 seconds left, you pussy. You paint your toenails as well. Wow. Respond, mother. Respond. And then he sent a big massive message back. The opening line is the best. Really, are you that immature? You got to be one sick individual to try bully someone like this online, and you've been doing it for a solid 2 months. Truth is, we both know I'd beat the living fuck out of you until you learned respect and never bullied one person ever again. And then it's him just going on. Respect to Johnny Case. What a legend, standing up to internet trolls. He should beat the fuck out of him.
We might as well get on to UFC Brisbane. So
we might.
We'll have a few questions about McGregor and Diaz later. What did you see that fight? What did you think of it?
I didn't see the Case fight. I saw the co-main and the main because I just got out of work at that time.
Yeah,
I'm a fan of Johnny Case though.
I'm a fan.
I've seen him fight live before.
To be honest, I'm a fan of Jake Matthews. He beat him. I saw a lot of people talking about Jake Matthews, that he's a good athlete, but he's not improving enough. He doesn't have the skills yet. I think he's improved a lot.
We've spoke about him before in the podcast.
We have,
the Conor McGregor of Australia.
Yeah, he reminds me a little bit of Arnold Allen, like that. We know he's a really good athlete, and we know there's improvements coming, but they haven't really come yet. And I think a lot of them came for him last Saturday. Like Johnny Case is a very, very good fighter, and like I was thinking as well, it's a bit of a hard fight to for him to be given at an early stage of his career. Like Johnny Case, that was his 26 or 7 fight, and
Johnny Case
was.
I don't know if I had it here on Twitter, 22-5, but I don't know if that's after the result of the fight before. But he's fought over 20 times compared to Matthews, who was having his 10th fight or his 11th fight.
But like I was very impressed with him. I think I'm actually not sure where he's training. I must ask someone, but I think he did a little bit of training in Jackson's a while back. But it's difficult to know what kind of training he's getting in Australia and stuff, or where he's doing it. But I'm sure we can confirm that. But I think he's a huge prospect in the UFC. But the lightweight division is such an alligator pool that you don't know how he's how he's long term, how he's going to get on. But I think he's one of the top prospects in the UFC. But there was good wins as well there.
Anything else happen on the card?
Yeah, Steve Boss got a good knockout against James Tahuna. Beck Rollins actually impressed me an awful lot. I watched her fight with Soyam. Very impressive. A lot of improvements with her hands. Like we spoke about Beck Rollins before, and kind of said she's one of these fighters, maybe got in there in her name and she's kind of popular and people like her and stuff, or people kind of hate her as well. She's a lot of that. She's kind of a character, but I was very, very impressed with her on Saturday night. I thought her hands were good. I think Soy Ham is a good little fighter as well, and I was very impressed with Beck Rollins' her hands. But she's a little bit unathletic, and she gets very tired in fights and stuff like that. And that happened again. But I was impressed with her improvement. But I suppose we can get on to the top 2 fights.
I was more going to ask you, can we not give a shout out to Rin Nakai's double leg? Great grappler, the greatest female grappler in the world.
Exactly, yeah. The Reebok deal has ruined her. It's a pity, isn't it?
Completely. That's the only person that we want to see out of Reebok gear.
Yeah. Leslie Smith, I'm a big fan of Leslie Smith. Another one of the Diaz brothers' proteges. Good fighter as well. So. And Ross Pearson beat Chadler Breeze.
By decision. Shout outs to Irish MMA fighter Tommy Quinn, working the corner of Ross Pearson. As well as a friend of SevereMMA, Jimmy Harbison. He was both of Ross's cornermen as well.
Nice beard Tommy Quinn has, isn't he?
Oh, fantastic. I'd say he pulls some women down in Australia. I'm not joking. Jimmy Harbison put up a picture of the two of them together, and there was a couple of comments being like, "Who is your friend?" And it's like, he's just... I'd say the reason that man will not come back to Ireland ever is because he is so popular in Newcastle. He trains a lot of like Geordie Shore guys. He's very well known in the area. He's gorgeous. He's a fighter. What more could you want? And he doesn't if we can just shout out to him for a second. He's one of the Irish MMA fighters generally have a good reputation of doing this, but in terms of European MMA fighters at welterweight, he's lost his last 2 fights, but he fought Lewis Long and Matt Inman, 2 of the hardest possible fights that he could have got. And they were both very close fights. Someone sent him a message saying because he's a ticket seller they'll give him someone easy, and Tommy screenshotted it, put it up saying like, I will never do this. He's like, I will always only fight the best fights, the ones that will challenge me, the ones that will get me up to actually train. This is an embarrassment, and fighters who do this should be embarrassed. So fair play to him. But
I think I saw him fighting once in a live.
I think you saw him fight at Cage Warriors against Philip Mulpeter.
Maybe, yeah, possibly. Yeah, I think I did.
I think it was Philip Mulpeter anyway. Anyway, co-main event. What'd you think? Good crack. Some fight. Everybody, look, Sean, yeah. I'm going to let you just work away here. I'll be back in 20 minutes. I have to do a few messages up there, and you'll probably be finishing up there talking about the ref.
See, this was a bit of a weird one for me because I watched it the next day, and I don't want to. This one's on bad now, but I watched it with the sound off because Kenny Florian was commentating. So it's kind of a weird when you're not hearing those things with commentary sometimes. But I was like, in the first round, we're obviously talking about the stoppage being a bit mad and stuff in the Hector Lombard against Neil Magny. In the first round, like, there's an argument it could have been stopped, but I think Lombard or Magny did very well.
Was defending himself very well from Turtle.
And I think the referee deserves credit for that as well, because he did a good job of recognising what Magny was doing. Like, he was trying to get back to his feet. He was obviously wobbled and stuff, but he was clearly protecting himself. He wasn't out. His fight wasn't over. But Lombard, in the second round, when Magny came back into it, he got him into a triangle, and then he ended up in mount after that. From there, he just laid it on him. Like, it was. I remember I actually watched it just again there before we came on. It was like 90 seconds left on the clock when he got the dominant position on top. And for a second, Lombard, he caught, I think it was the right hand. He caught under his arm, the way they catch it, where kind of he put his glove into his, in between his elbow and his wrist and his underarm, and kind of kept it in there. And Magny was beating him for maybe 10-15 seconds. I was like, okay, he's defending himself. He's one of his arms anyway. He's defending himself. But then he let that go, and he kind of got flattened out. And there was one stage where he was flattened out, where both palms were against the ground, and Magny was beating him. And the referee didn't stop it, and he kind of put up his hands a little bit and put his hands to the side of his face, and he was still beating him. He's hit him to the back of the head even a couple of times, and he was just beating down him for a good 45 seconds with no response from Hector. And the referee just said nothing. He just left it go. And then at one stage, when 30 seconds after it should have been stopped, he's like, Hector, fight back. And I'm like, fight back? He's like, what are you talking about? And Hector kind of moved a bit, and he moved to a position where he took more damage, and Magny was just punching him from, it was kind of like a side mount kind of a job, and he was just punching him straight in the face 10 times unanswered, and he still didn't stop it. When Magny came out for Lombard came out for the second,
he was done.
He was like a zombie. He was just finished. It was just wrong. It was Percival is a joke of a referee, to be honest. He's always has been a joke of a referee. This sport, we've spoken about it so many times, it's predicated on safety of the fighters. I don't want to watch this sport unless fighters are going to be taken care of. It turns into barbarism if that happens. It turns into what all these people say it is, about these people writing hit pieces about the sport. That's what it turns into if you have terrible refereeing. That's exactly what it turns into. And I think guys like Steve Percival are no good for the game. There's great referees out there like John McCarthy and Herb Dean and Mark Goddard and everyone makes mistakes. But this wasn't a mistake. This was a prolonged beating that he let happen. He was standing there and he just let it happen. And things like that can't be let go.
I want blood.
Yeah. Oh, if I was a fighter and he was reffing my fight, I'd put in a complaint. I wouldn't let him ref it. And it's not just for me. You could see Neil Magny. Neil Magny felt bad about beating Hector Lombard so badly. He knew Hector Lombard was finished. And nobody, fighters like don't want to, fighters just want to get this fight over and done with. They don't want to be putting these big beatings. Like Hector Lombard might never be the same again after what happened to him on Saturday night. So, terrible.
I was watching it with a couple of friends after work. We finished early on Saturday night. Went back to one of the lads' house. He had Fight Pass up on the phone, and it was scandalous. Now more than ever, when we've actively been talking about damage and the long-term health repercussions of this sort of thing, it was absolutely scandalous. And when you say, I'm going to challenge on one thing, when you say the ref did well in the first round because Magny was actively defending himself, I just think the ref's an idiot and just paid no attention to that and wasn't like, he was like, no, this is fine, this is fine, this is fine, being oblivious to it, not being like, oh, you're defending yourself well, just being like, no, he hasn't punched him enough, or he hasn't stopped moving yet, he hasn't gone unconscious. If it came out tomorrow that referee had a bet on Hector Lombard, I would not be surprised in the slightest. It was just absolutely scandalous. In this day and age, like, God knows what's going to happen in God, who's that? Never heard of him. Thank Graham. This day and age,
that was a good impression, by the way. In
this day and age, we're going to have, like, Australia already is very much against mixed martial arts, and I maybe I'm being a little bit unfair saying that. There's a lot of fans, there's a lot of Irish over there, they love the sport, but it seems like a lot of government officials do not like the sport. It was only recently, wasn't it banned? You can only do it in a cage, you can only do it in a ring. I remember that being out around the time George Jadaropoulos, and now they thought the Holly Holm thing was too violent, and there was a bit of an outcry. What is something like that going to do? Like a guy lying prone, not defending himself, getting strikes. Magny was furious with the referee when he got up at the end of that second round. He was looking at the referee while hitting him, being like, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing this? And then the man that I've given shit to in the past, right? Hold my hands up now completely. Mark Goddard in that main event did the right thing. No, I don't want to say he did the right thing, because Mark Hunt had already decided the fight was over before Goddard had even stepped in and had began walking away. But for Frank Mir to tank, how many times do we see a fighter in Frank Mir's position get an extra couple of shots for good measure from the guy that knocked him down like that? It was just that should never happen again in the sport of mixed martial arts. I know when they go away to different places, Mark Ratner, I think, does he appoint the officials? Am I right in saying that? The UFC appoint the officials anyway. That guy will never work a UFC event again. That was just, it was hard to watch. And I've spoke about this before, Sean. It was like, for me, it's fair enough. It's people putting themselves in there voluntarily. They know the risks, but they know the risks of a fight. They don't, like, the reason that the referee is there is to protect them when they can no longer protect themselves from further damage. And maybe if they're a bit gung-ho and being like, no, I'm fine, I'll keep going, I'll keep fighting. Hector Lombard, that fight should have been stopped. Even now, he shouldn't fight for another 6 to 8 months. There's not a hope I want to see Hector Lombard back in there within the next couple of months. It was hard to watch. And I've struggled watching stuff like that in the past at local shows. When Tommy McCafferty got knocked out by Teddy Violet that time last year, and when Damien Rooney got knocked out by Tom Duquesnoy. For me, they were two very, very hard things to watch. Coupled by the fact that I'm friendly and I train with those guys, and also that there were such devastating knockouts with bad repercussions in terms of like their immediate health afterwards. It was just, for me, it's starting to get to the stage that this is getting tough to watch. But it was horrible.
But there's some things like that, like the UFC Dublin where McGregor fought Brando. There was one of the fights on the undercard. There was one of the light heavyweight guys.
Was it
Donovan? Was it that guy?
Cody Donovan?
Yeah, he got knocked out heavily, and like he was just laying on the canvas. I was in the crowd at the time. I was like 16 years old. I had great seats. Like I was looking straight down, and he was just like lying face first on the canvas, and I was just like, like I
didn't he retire?
He did, yeah. But
after that fight, yeah.
It's weird sometimes. Like I'd been to 3 or 4 cage orders events and stuff before that, and like I'd see knockouts and stuff live, but sometimes there's ones kind of, they just stand out to you, like, and that's always stood out with me. Like there was a really heavy, like was it Kone the last time at Bama got a very heavy knockout as well, but that didn't, that was kind of just,
Kone knocked out. Oh, the one
knocked
that
out,
you were
Kone
at.
knocked out, yeah. someone got knocked out heavily.
He
anyway.
knocked out Paul Byrne at the last one.
No, it was the one before that I was at. Yeah, but anyway, like that Donovan one, it just really stood out. And like they don't really show it in Fight Pass or anything, like for how long he was actually down there. And like it was looking down at it, he was unresponsive for like 60 seconds or more. And it's like, it's one of those things that kind of brings it up to you that like this sport is fucking, this sport needs all those medical exams. It needs good refs, and it needs fucking good judges and everything like that.
Something that bothers me, right? And it happened, I think, in this fight, or maybe it happened in the main event. You know when the doctors come into the cage?
Yeah.
Is there 2 doctors assigned to each fighter? Is there a doctor assigned to each fighter?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, because I was going to say, it always seems like one doctor goes to the guy who wins straight away, and then they go to the person who is on the ground. And in my mind, I'm thinking, get them both. Look, like there needs to be attention on the person who's just been badly hurt. Straight up, like. But
there's 2 doctors.
Is there? Oh, well then, never mind. Ignore that point entirely.
Just before we get on to the main event, Neil Magny, you have to give him props.
Performance.
What a performance. And what a career resurgence.
I wish he had got the tap. I'm not going to lie. It looked like he was going to submit him at one point.
Yeah. Just like he's one of those guys that you all,
I'm surprised Lombard's arm didn't break, actually.
Yeah. He had him a couple of times, actually. Remember he had the triangle arm bar?
Had the triangle, switched to the arm bar, and then underhooked the leg as well, which was going to look like it was going to make the triangle go on even tighter.
Lombard, or Magny is one of those guys that, you kind of hold out hope. Oh, he could be a good fighter if he makes improvements. There's loads of fighters like that we're always speaking about, but he's actually done them, and he's actually become like a top welterweight now. And it's like I honestly didn't think it would happen, but it did. He's done it by being active. He's done it by being really tough, and he's done it by putting his nose to the grind and improving. Like he's fighting, he's training Team Elevation there. Well, I don't know if he's training with Ludwig, but they have Lister Bowling and a couple more guys like that there who are like, they have a great team there. But he's training with Matt Brown as well, I think. And like I put up a thing there in the time that Ken Velasquez fought, before he didn't fight Verdum and after he didn't fight after Verdum. In that period between October 2013 and now, Velasquez has fought once, and Magny has fought 12 times in that same time. And like, that's unbelievable. And he's won 11 of them. He's only lost to Damian Maia when he was sick and he went to that fight and lost. But Damian Maia obviously, brought him to where he needed to bring him and beat him. But I can't say enough good things about Neil Magny, to be honest. And like that, we spoke about it earlier, but that Tyron Woodley fight, that's the fight that needs to happen, I think. Tyron Woodley needs to beat someone like Neil Magny before he deserves a title shot, in my opinion. And I think Magny has done enough. If Magny beat Tyron Woodley, he's up there, maybe one fight away from a title shot. And
he's a more deserving one than someone like Tyron Woodley.
I agree.
So if he beat Tyron Woodley, that's a good, like, solid run of wins for him to be like, yeah, title shot, that's fair enough. No one will really disagree. Maybe a fight against Carlos Condit or Johnny Hendricks or something like that just before you get it. But if the way the division laid out, say if Wonder Boy and Rory get into an absolute epic fight and both guys are on the sidelines for a while, Neil Magny's booked to fight Tyron Woodley in the next couple of months. Then we have the maybe a welterweight title fight at UFC 200. Or was it booked for another event? Or is there anything in place yet? Let's say Robbie Lawler fights someone and then gets a quick win. He's free. Do you know what I mean? No one would disagree with saying, yeah, Neil Magny gets a shot because other guys are on the fence. Whereas Tyron Woodley, it's like, no.
I think Damian Maia might disagree.
Well, yeah, but whatever.
Is it Maia? But I think you're making fair points there. But I was saying the same thing as you were saying, but we forget about Maia. Everyone seems to forget about Maia.
Yeah, like, I'm sorry. That was just me there. I just completely forgot he existed.
But I forgot about him as well. But everyone seems to fucking forget about him. Like, Maia's put an unbelievably good run together. Like, he's beaten loads of good guys, and for me, he's ahead of Tyron Woodley. He's ahead of Magny because he beat him. I think he's up there with Wonderboy in deserving it for me. But he's fighting Matt Brown now as well, so. I wouldn't mind seeing Damian Maia against Robbie Lawler. That'd be a good fight.
I could
UFC 201 or something.
Yeah, I could get down with that. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. Anyway, main event time. What a performance!
Yeah.
Well, like, I don't want to say that I called it, but I called it.
Yeah, I called it as well.
Well, look, we're both legends.
My bet of the week was Mark Hunt first round knockout.
Was it? What odds was that?
23-10.
Really?
So, yeah.
So pretty much 2-1.
More than 2-1, yeah.
I could not see the fight going any other way. The two guys that I was with were like, Frank Mir's going to beat him, Frank Mir's going to beat him. And I just started laughing. I was like, lads, this is absolutely nothing other than, even though he has a reach advantage, a good reach advantage, he will not try use it in the slightest. I was like, he will use strikes to be able to try set up some form of takedown, and Mark Hunt will be able to hit him while he's doing that. He'll hit him once and that'll put Mir off the takedown, and then it'll just be, no, we're just running time down here now until Mark Hunt connects him with one clean. If you want to throw it out there, Frank Mir looked in the worst shape of his life. Wink, wink. And he can't take a punch anymore. I don't want to see Frank Mir have to fight anymore. I don't want to see Frank Mir have to take a knockout like that anymore. He thanked Mark Goddard for saving him any unnecessary punishment. And when a camp and a fighter goes out of their way to thank a fighter, to thank the referee for taking that punishment, you know that the end of their day is finally here.
What did you think of that stoppage? For me,
okay,
it was
here.
Hunt shouldn't be doing that, I don't think.
No, Mark Hunt shouldn't do something like that. And I see a lot of people being like, brilliant, brilliant, brilliant Mark Goddard, and I know I praised him earlier on, but Mark Hunt needs to at least actively make the move that Conor McGregor, Slow-Mo and Ivan Bushinger to say, because Frank Mir landed in a position that, even though he was out of it, even though his eyes may have been glazed over, Frank Mir landed in a position that so often in fights we see guys get there, a half-hearted ground and pound shot wakes them up, an up kick puts the guy who put them down back a little bit further, and they're able to recover and regain their consciousness in the 15 to 30 seconds. Do you know what I mean? People saying like, yeah, well, if he was okay, he wouldn't have stayed on the ground in his back for 30 seconds. And it's like, well, he knows he's already lost the fight.
No, but
why are you going to get up? No,
no,
it's not. It's part of an active point here. It's like the 30 seconds that he spent on his back could easily have been 30 seconds in a competitive mixed martial arts fight where he's still able to kick back with his legs, or maybe a tiny shot wakes him up, or he's able to get himself back together a little bit quicker. But the difference between those 30 seconds and the 30 seconds after a fight is, the fight's over. You're after having a fight. You're after being knocked down. You're after your head scrambled. You're in no rush to get back up. Why would you try to get back up to your feet instantly? You know that the fight's over. Frank Mir's a veteran. He knows that he's not going to be able to change the referee's mind.
Usually, I'd say what Mark Hunt did there was kind of wrong. That he needs to fight on, and
But then it doesn't look cool, Sean.
Yeah, that's true. But in that situation, the fight isn't over when he knocks him down. Like, he kind of needs to fight on, and the referee needs to encourage him to fight on. Usually, but on Saturday night, Mir was clearly out of it, and he couldn't get up. He was on the ground for way more than 30 seconds. And he clearly couldn't get up. So in that situation Saturday night, it was fine.
I need to watch it again, because I saw it live and I saw it as that. So apologies for that if he was down for a lot longer and if he was clearly out of it. Yeah. But you have to admit, we do see that position in fights so much that, for example, John Kavanagh's biggest criticism of the Marcus Brimage fight, Conor swarming him with strikes because those strikes wake people up and bring them back.
Yeah, but in that situation, most people... or not most people, but a lot of people in Frank Mir's situation would be dazed, but would be able to fight on, or would be able to turtle, or would be able to if Mark Hunt got down, get him in the guard and hold him on, or a lot of people wouldn't be totally over. When you get knocked down, the fight isn't over, and Mark Hunt kind of just made it over, and it's a very tough, it's a tough spot for Mark Goddard or for any referee in that spot. And I think Mark Goddard got a little bit lucky because of Frank Mir was out and the fight was over, but it could have been controversial. I think Mark Goddard did a great job on all, or like any referee, it isn't just him. Like any referee probably would have gone in and stopped that fight. Even if Mir wasn't totally out of it, unless he just jumped up or something. Well, that's great for Mark Hunt to do, to walk away, but I don't know. It's a bit, it's a bit dodgy, and when fights end like that, it's a little bit like the Bisping Anderson fight. You can't call the fight off yourself. You have to kind of wait for the referee to do it. And I think it might be a little bit from Mark Hunt's kickboxing career. If you knock someone down in kickboxing, obviously
you walk away for a 10 count.
Away and wait. Yeah, exactly. And I think he's never kind of got rid of that. So maybe he doesn't need that. Maybe it's working in his favour and he's doing it right all the time. So continue, Mark Hunt. Be you. What a great man.
We love it.
Yeah.
I'm having internet troubles here at the moment, Sean. Is there anything else you want to talk about just before I get these questions up? Any burning issues, burning desires?
What about Rory MacDonald? He announced last week, just for a couple of minutes, that he will be going into free agency after his Wonderboy fight. And we spoke about it a couple of times now.
I wonder why the UFC made that fight.
We know exactly why they made the fight. That was the first thing that came into my head after it. It's like, okay, they're just giving Rory the toughest possible fight they could give him. So if he goes into free agency, he goes in there with a loss.
Makes sense.
It makes total sense now from the UFC's point of view. But Rory MacDonald is the biggest fighter to ever go into free agency, maybe like Randy Couture and stuff did before, did he? And Dan Henderson and things.
This is going to turn into this is the biggest fight in Irish MMA history every time Conor McGregor fights, sort of thing. Every time someone tests free agency, people are going to be falling over themselves to write, this is the biggest time we've ever seen a free agency go. It's like Ben Henderson, yeah, cool, but Rory, and everyone was falling over themselves at that. But in the grand scale of things, Rory MacDonald is pretty much guaranteed the biggest guy who's ever tested free agency. And for a man who seemed, Sean, this is where I want to throw it back to you, for a man who seemed like such a company man, he gave the impression he was UFC, coming from a gym that has good links with the UFC. Now I think we're starting to see the shift that fighters aren't happy. And if you want to elaborate on this a little bit more, I saw it on Reddit this morning. Shane Carwin is now starting a fighter management services. And if any fighters want, he's becoming a manager for fighters, and if any fighters want to get in touch with him, he said, shoot me a message.
Yeah, well, just on Rory, I think Rory is genuinely, the biggest guy in modern anyway. Maybe Couture and stuff is different, but modern MMA with this whole new free agency thing, he's definitely the biggest. He's one of the top ranked guys in the world. I think he's personally one of the top pound for pound fighters in the world. I know he lost to Robbie Lawler twice and stuff, but I still think he's a great fighter. A huge asset for Bellator, especially their welterweight. That Vincent Hindley fight could be a big fight. They've a couple of more guys around lightweight that could move up as well, and they have plenty of fights for him there. But it's a change, and it's a good change because guys like Rory MacDonald and Vincent Henderson and Aljamain Sterling and stuff, they're paving the way for not just guys in the present but guys in the future as well. You want to make more money in MMA. Fighters aren't getting enough, and this is how they do it. We speak about a union so often, but a union is a little bit unrealistic at the moment unless something huge happens. But this is the way individuals can help. Maybe they won't help other people insofar as it's not going to push up the wages for everyone, but they might help people realize that, okay, I can do this as well. I can get a contract, offer a contract, and maybe I can say, okay, maybe someone will pay me a little bit more, and I'll go to them instead. If you don't stump up to pay me the same amount, and I think that's as well down to Bellator maybe being a prospect, being somewhere where you can go maybe get a little bit easier fights. Look what Rampage did when he went over there. He got 3 easy wins and got big money. For guys maybe who are coming to the end of their career, it's good. Maybe guys still starting off might be a little bit different, but it's no longer a case of it's the UFC or bust. People don't mind fighting for Bellator now. If they're pulling in the big money, they'd rather secure their future, and they'd rather get big money rather than fighting the UFC for maybe something less. So that's a good thing in one way for the fighters that they have another option. But obviously, it might, everyone else mightn't like that, but it's good that more people are doing this, I think, because that's the way it needs to do. That's what happens, and in all American sports, obviously soccer and stuff here is a different way of doing it. They have a different way of getting their leverage, but every sport has, the fighters or the competitors have leverage and can use it. And as you say, Shane Carwin coming in, maybe he's probably a pretty smart guy. If he can help them utilize their leverage against the UFC or against Bellator or whatever, it's good for everyone. Like, and it's not just UFC. Jeez, what's his name? The Bellator lightweight champion, Will Brooks. Yeah, he's talking about going into free agency as well and getting out to get to the UFC. So they'll make him an offer, and the Bellator will have the matches also. It works for everyone, so it's good for everyone in every promotion.
Tell me this before we get on to questions.
Yes.
Did you watch your fight?
I watched bits of it. I didn't buy the pay-per-view or anything, but I saw the gifs and I saw the matches and stuff.
How cool is that show? First of all, did Roy Jones Jr. really fight a fan, or was it a boxer, like a shit boxer?
It was an MMA fighter who'd fought a couple of times, I think, and he knocked him out.
Hilarious.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
Get rid of the grappling match, with Bisping. Like, that's just...
Yeah. Or make it that guy that was, was on Metamoris, the small kind of guy.
Jeff Glover,
him, yeah.
They should do like exciting jiu-jitsu matches like that, like something like
Ryan Hall against Jeff Glover.
Against Jeff Glover, exactly. Matchups like that people will actually be like, oh, this is kind of fun. Jiu-jitsu's cool. But Chael Sonnen against Michael Bisping, like Michael Bisping doing a Q&A when he had Chael up against the ropes. Cool story. Like,
well,
no
they
way.
got him because they got big.
The deathly top guard from Chael Sonnen. Man will sit on his knees all day. Like, it's just, let's get a bit more.
How much they got paid for that?
Apparently they got paid up front. Apparently they got paid well. It's set up by a venture capitalist in Canada. Apparently, is the guys that are funding the money into it. But
apparently Rey Mysterio and Kurt Angle stole the night.
Oh, it looked like a great match. Looked like a lot of nice spots. Go on. Did you see the rumoured card for the second one?
No, I didn't.
Ken Shamrock versus Dan Severn.
That was supposed to happen this time, wasn't it?
Jean-Claude Van Damme versus a fan. And RVD versus Jerry Lynn in a wrestling match. Jerry Lynn, hardcore legend.
Never heard of him.
Oh, you're an idiot. Anyway, couple of questions.
Yes.
We have a couple of...
Did you get my Facebook ones as well?
What Facebook ones? Did you send me a Facebook message?
No, I'll open up the Facebook ones. You do the ones on Twitter.
Okay, I've got a couple here on Twitter. A couple of good ones. As always, the first man in there, Mr. Podge, friend of the podcast.
Right, man.
He just threw one out there. How many times will Eminem concert be discussed before you wonder if you're actually in the Matrix? So yeah, we got that in there today.
Look, we got it already in there as well earlier on.
Yeah.
But if you have a podcast every week for 60 weeks in a row, you're going to repeat stuff. This is going to happen. Like, it happens on Joe Rogan all the time. But yeah, probably get another couple of mentions.
But he has two genuine, legitimate questions anyway.
Okay.
How many fighters need to fail a drug test before a gym's rep is finally tarnished? Do Lombard and Yoel Romero cast doubt on other ATT fighters? Now, this opens up a funny Sherdog thread that I read the other day about that website ENT Imports. Do you know the one that's just been spammed all around the place at the minute?
Yeah.
That's run and set up by a guy who's affiliated or is a coach at ATT Atlanta.
Is that true? The guy who runs it used to run
BJPen.com.
Yeah.
Then maybe it's the guy that has registered it. There's a massive Sherdog conspiracy thread about it, blah, blah, blah. And because they reported that something about Yoel Romero being cleared, but didn't change the URL, the hyperlink. And it's a very good, I'll send you the link to it. But it seems like those guys have an active interest in ATT and will promote ATT news. That being said, I think it's unfair to maybe think that all of them are at it, because ATT has turned into a corporation now. They have their main gym in Florida, and outside of that, everything else is just you pay money to be associated with us, and depending on the amount of money you pay, you can either be a level 1, level 2, level 3, or an ATT actual gym. What do you think?
I agree with you. You can't tarnish everyone with their own rush. Like, I think there are camps in the past, maybe not, I'm not sure now, maybe, but that we're all, on the gimmick together. But I don't think...
the gimmick.
I don't think you can accuse them or anything like that. But, I don't think so, to be honest. I think it's an individual thing a lot of the time.
What?
Here's a question.
Go.
Danny Berry on Facebook. Who do you think is a righteous number one contender in each division? Let's go through them. Women's strawweight. I think that's Gedelia. That's fair.
Claudia, she's getting her shot anyway, so that's fair enough.
Women's bantamweight. Who's the number one contender to Misha?
Katzengano.
What? It's a tough one, isn't it?
It is, because there's no, like, Amanda Nunes, I suppose, is, if you're going by what we spoke earlier about a Bushido code, about someone being the next rightful challenger.
I'd nearly say Ronda, because Ronda beat her twice.
Yeah, but we don't know what Ronda's story is, like, if she's coming back.
Yeah, but that's not the kind of mind of it. Okay, flyweight. Demetrius.
Is this the person that I want to see fight for the title the most?
Who you think should be, like, by a sporting sense, that doesn't really exist, I suppose, but I think I probably think it should be Joseph Benavidez, but it is Henry Cejudo, and I know Joseph has lost him already.
I think the fact that, like, we spoke before about how Benavidez is the guy that would be the champion if someone like Demetrius Johnson was never alive and never thought of fighting mixed martial arts, but the UFC seem to be, for the most part, giving the people now at some divisions the people who deserve the shot. You know, people are talking about Henry Cejudo coming straight in for a title shot as soon as he signed to the UFC. You know, like, he'll be the guy to be able to fight Demetrius Johnson, just let him get a win or two, and then that's fine.
Yeah.
135, yeah, TJ Dillashaw. Not definitely not Uriah Faber.
Yeah, I'd agree with Dillashaw.
Or if we're looking a little bit further down the line, like in 6 months' time, we're going to be saying Almeida or Lineker or Garbrandt. Either of those three guys can be fighting for a title, I think, within the next year.
Did you hear who's Garbrandt fighting?
Garbrandt is fighting Lineker. Or is it Almeida? He's fighting one of them anyway, and I'm like, when I saw it, I was like, oh! Excellent. 145, Frankie Edgar. Fair enough, no qualms there. 155 though.
This is tough now. It's definitely not Eddie Alvarez. How is Eddie Alvarez number one? He was 2-1 in the UFC.
It's Khabib, but
yeah,
he's made out of, like, disposable materials that can't hold up in a fight.
I'd actually say it's Nathan Diaz.
Why? Because he beat someone at 170?
If you beat a champion.
Yeah, fair enough. Give him the shot. 170, I think we stumbled upon at this show. Damian Maia, heir to the throne.
You know what, I go with that, even though Wonderboy.
Wonderboy.
I'm glad you did that.
Middleweight. Jacare.
He lost to Yoel, but Yoel was gimmicked.
Yeah.
Tim Kennedy.
No. Michael Bisping, actually.
Bisping is
Michael Bisping, yeah. Michael Bisping, let him in there. 205. That's fair enough. Jones coming in, he never lost his belt.
Verdum.
Heavyweight Stipe, most underrated at the moment, definitely deserves his chance to get a title shot.
There you go.
How will Henan Barrow get on at 145? Could he be a title contender, or will the size mean he'll just be around the top 5? In case you missed it, he's fighting Jeremy Stevens in his featherweight debut, or at least they're penciled in for that fight. One of the biggest 145ers. So I think we're going to get the answer to that question sooner rather than later. That was Mr. Podge's follow-up question.
Yeah, I don't think he'll ever be a champion, but he could be. He'll be a top 10er anyway, definitely. His style might translate a little bit better to 145 because they aren't as dynamic there, and he struggles against very dynamic fighters. Like, I think he'd struggle against McGregor, fighting like McGregor. I think he'd struggle against Aldo. They'll probably never fight. He'd probably struggle against Edgar, but I think he'd beat Lamas. Maybe he'd give him a good fight anyway. I'd like to see him fight Bermudez. That'd be a good fight. But there's a lot of good fights there for him.
John Harker at Cape May Irish. Are there any decent MMA movies aside from Warrior? No. And Warrior's only good because the National's in it.
That one that Kevin James made was pretty funny. I enjoyed it. Here Comes the Boom.
I've never seen it.
It's funny enough. I won a DVD of it years ago. There you go. Question from Fergal McGorman. Do you ever go fishing?
No. But as I always say, Sean, you might catch a lot of flies with honey, but you'll catch more honeys being fly.
You're some bollocks. Do you know who's a good man for fishing?
Who?
Neil Seary.
Neil Seary loves it. I've interviewed Neil Seary coming on to Severe this afternoon, would you believe?
Sweet. He gives a bit of abuse.
He does, yes.
I woke up the Snapchat from Neil Seary the day after Man United lost to Liverpool.
Is he on Snapchat?
He is, yeah. Let's just say it isn't fit to be repeated on a podcast.
Was it a video? Was it?
Oh yeah. He was drinking
believe-
out of a Liverpool glass as he did it. Oh, it was hilarious.
What a man. Let me see. Have you got one there, or am I looking for the next?
Yeah, Rory Farrell views on Zuffa apparently putting up for the UFC for sale. And do you think McGregor and Diaz is a product of this? We've kind of discussed that earlier on. That you think it is. Look, I find it very hard to believe this UFC is up for sale. I think there's always discussions and things like these, but even if they've...
The fuck was that?
I have no idea. Even if they have no...
sorry, it was opening it was a Vine played on Twitter.
Sorry. Even if they have no intention of selling it, I think these kind of talks are always happening and stuff. Yeah, I'd be surprised. I'd be surprised if it happened anytime soon. I think Dana White and the Fertitta brothers are kind of too invested in them, put too many long-term kind of things in place at the moment for them to sell it. So like I think Fight Pass and the whole drug testing thing is very, they're still very new, and I don't think now would be a good time to sell, to be honest.
Gary Murphy at Sons_2014. I'm guessing he's a Sons of Anarchy fan. UFC 200 won't be as stacked as people think. Agree, disagree?
I think it will be.
Stacked to the tits?
Yeah, I think it will be.
There you go.
Here's one from John O'Brien that we didn't really get to earlier on, but what do you think of McGregor wanting to fight, or not wanting to fight, but fighting Nate Diaz again at 170 pounds?
So we might as well give the shout out on top of that to Ross Sherlock, who asked the same question. Callum Divan also asked the same question. We're going to just try get them all out in there in the one thing. And Keane O'Connell said the exact same thing. Like a lot of people asking, maybe it's McGregor's ego getting him in trouble. And our favourite username in the world, Kill Your Idols, says, if Nate beats Conor again, would you be surprised, motherfucker?
No, I wouldn't be surprised, because we weren't surprised the first time. We said it before the first match. But if it was in a similar way, I think I'd be surprised.
What, like, let's talk about it here. Is the 170 thing an ego?
I don't know what it is, to be honest. I think it's just stupid for all around. Like McGregor, I think McGregor's a 155er rightly. Diaz is definitely a 155er. Like, why not just have the fight at 155? Like, some people are saying, "Oh, this is a 155 fight where the lads that don't cut weight." But come on, like, take it fucking. That's just stupidity. I think, to be honest, just like, I don't know, McGregor's not a 170 pound fighter. Like, that, I think that was proven the last time. He needs to fight at 155 or 145. I have no idea why it's happening at 170. I think it's a bad idea.
It's a bit of a silly one. Just a follow up one from Farrell Connolly at Farrell Connolly. Any possibility of an Irish fighter on the UFC Fight Night Rotterdam card?
It's weird, isn't it? I wrote an article yesterday about what's next for all the Irish fighters. Like, none of them are matched, apart from Conor McGregor and Gunnar Nelson. None of them are matched. So maybe I think that Rotterdam card is full though.
Somebody also asked a similar thing. I'm trying to just find it here. I had it written down. Will Martin, what's going on with the Irish fighters not getting fights in the UFC? Surely there's something announced soon. The answer is yes, something will be announced very soon, and that's about all I can say.
Well, you know something I don't know?
I do, yeah.
Oh yeah? What is it? Go on, tell me.
Conor McGregor's fighting Nate Diaz at UFC 200.
Oh, fucking hell.
Don't tell anybody.
I wonder could there'd be an Irish card maybe. I don't know. Sounds like it is. Sounds like there is, like. I don't know, maybe there probably isn't, like. Anyway, let's move on.
Look, will I risk getting completely blacklisted from the UFC here just for the sake of the podcast?
No, don't. No.
I would expect there to be announcements fairly soon in terms of the Irish fighters getting matchups, and also an announcement within the next couple of months about the UFC's final European destinations
I think I heard
of 2016.
Yeah.
And all I'm saying is it's not going to be in the 3 Arena. If a show happened in Ireland in 2016, it would not be in the 3 Arena.
Or Croke Park.
Or Croke Park. Or the Aviva. Or Thomond Park.
I'll be on maybe Thomond Park. I'll be on the fucking Helix. On there.
Or the Helix.
Okay.
Make your conclusions from that, what you will, and speculate widely on the internet.
Daniel Bradley asked, what were your favourite cartoons growing up?
Someone else asked that as well on Twitter.
Yeah.
Recess. Big fan of Recess. And the Weekenders.
I was a Turtles man myself.
Teenage Mutant.
Big
Or just fans of... I like Turtles.
No, the dick cartoon. I liked Hey Arnold a bit as well. That was
Oh my God, Hey Arnold. Here's a stat for you, Sean.
What?
Here's a statistic for you. Tell me the 2 longest running animated TV shows in history.
The Simpsons.
Number 1, correct.
And is it Hey Arnold?
Nope.
No. Okay. Let me think. Tom and Jerry.
Nope.
Surely Tom and Jerry.
Nope.
Don't know. Tell me.
No, keep guessing. That's not how this game
Turtles?
works. Nope.
Give me a clue.
I can sing the introduction for you if you like.
Oh. Go on.
And I said,
I don't know.
hey, what a wonderful kind of day.
Oh, yeah.
You
What
can
is that
learn to laugh and play and get along with each other. Arthur. You've never seen it. Google him. He's the rat-looking thing with glasses.
I know what that is. What is it? Tell me.
Arthur. Yeah, it was just called Arthur.
Oh, it's just
yeah,
Arthur. Oh,
Arthur.
I
Yeah.
don't even know what that is. No.
What? Yeah, it's the second longest running animated show in history. It's still running to this day.
That was my favourite cartoon, actually.
What?
Animaniacs.
Oh, I was a big fan of Animaniacs
That's it.
and Pinky and the Brain.
Pinky and the Brain. We're a bit like Pinky and the Brain, aren't we?
I would agree.
Yeah.
I don't like the way you've just put yourself down as massively there that we know.
Yeah,
I'll
we
go
all
with
know,
it.
we all
We
know.
all know.
Go away,
The
Pinky.
Animaniacs. Remember the Countries of the World song?
What was it again?
Well, obviously I don't know it, but he named every single country
Did he?
in existence in a song. It was brilliant. Oh man. Yugoslavia, Costa Rica, Colombia, Peru, North, every country.
Remember the
Brilliant.
girl with her dog? She's like, okay, I love you, bye-bye.
Okay, lady, I love you. Bye bye.
Yeah.
Aaron Cullen, Era 24/7. What's your favorite Easter egg?
Mora.
I used to be a
Mora
big
fan.
fan of Dream Easter eggs when Dreams were back around. When Dreams were around.
Yeah.
But I think at the end of the day, nothing beats a big, massive Kinder. So,
Kinder fan myself. I'd go Mora.
Scruffy Duffy at Ronan Duffy 1. Steve Percival's performance in the Lombard versus Magny fight, the worst performance by a ref in UFC history. What do you think?
I personally think the Weidman Rockhold fight was worse. Like, he was taking a ferocious beating. He was bleeding from his face and all, and that was really... Who was refereeing that? Herb Dean or someone?
I'm not sure, actually.
Yeah, that was worse, I think.
A double header here from Tyg O'Donovan at Tiggy85. Has Steve Mazzagatti been training the MMA referees in Australia?
Looks like it.
And
Even
then-
Steve wouldn't be that bad.
And from on there, are Hunt's walk-off KOs maybe due to the fact he just can't be arsed to jump on them on the ground and make sure they're finished and engage in a ground fight?
Maybe a little bit of it, yeah, but as I said earlier, I think it's a kickboxing thing. And yeah, he's just a great man, Mark Hunt.
Keith Fleming, with the Euros this summer, are we going to see the same amount of Irish travel into UFC 200? Something that we spoke about in detail. I think, and just something that came into my head completely randomly during the week. Dave Allen, Dahi McAleenan, Dahi Allen, who's now working with the IMAFs. Congratulations, Dave. He used to always go on shit on about the same reference all the time about Celtic reaching the UEFA Cup final in 2003 and being like tens of thousands of Celtic fans in Sevilla for the final.
Yeah.
So I do think a lot of Irish will go to France regardless of whether they have tickets or not, just for the crack in the session. Any more on Facebook there before I finish up here on Twitter?
Yeah, there's some good questions there. From
We've got
Padraig
about
Spillane,
6 minutes left.
Gareth Gargan,
Davies.
Healy. We'll do a question there from Padraig Spillane. What's next for Mark Hunt?
Title shot. Just give it to him. Let's see it happen. Sea-level Mark Hunt. He'll win.
I think give him one of those, I know Rottwell is fighting someone, but someone like that, Arlovsky or someone like that, give him one of those.
Give him the perfect... Just give him the guys with no chins anymore that he can just decimate, walk off KO and be like, thank my Lord and Saviour, Jesus Christ.
Jesus loves knockouts.
Jesus loves knockouts.
What about Frank Mir? Emmett Glynn asked, what's next for him?
Well, there you go, because the next question that I was going to ask was from Kieran Faherty. What fighters do you think are immune from the cut in the UFC? He thinks it's Mir and Bisping.
I think
for Mir next,
now for Mir to retire.
Yeah. I don't think the UFC would ever cut him, but he's still a big enough name that he could go and fight in Bellator.
Do you know that mayor of Toronto, Rob Ford, the guy that was really funny there last year and stuff?
The guy that was doing like heroin and stuff like that.
Yeah, he died.
How?
He just died, yeah. And I just see it on Twitter there. He was a sound man, like, fairness.
He was a sound man, like, fair play to him. He's, I wonder, was he killed for being too mad?
Yeah.
Maybe. North Korea.
Just before we finish up, New York is being legalised. It's going to be legalised by the time this podcast comes out, probably. Jim Guinea and stuff is all on it.
Oh, they're sure, like?
Yeah, it's happening this time. I think it's a huge thing for. I don't think it'll change the sport and for us or anything really huge, but there's going to be a huge event in Madison Square Garden later this year. I think it's going to be it's going to bring additional.
Notorious.
Yeah,
Conor McGregor versus Frankie Edgar. What a better place to do it than in Frankie Edgar's hometown. That's why he's not getting the title shot at UFC 200. I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
I'm just glad this is over with because I'm sick of listening to this
every year.
Years.
Yeah.
And
even then, someone's told me that Madison Square Garden isn't even a great venue. An MMA show won't be great there. It's just that it's Madison Square Garden. And after the initial love buzz has fallen out, the UFC probably won't go out of their way to come back there too much.
Yeah. And it's good as well. It's not just the UFC. It's good for all local promotions, smaller promotions. And
that can now put mixed martial arts fights on there and different things like that.
Fair play to them, lads. Well done.
Finally, to finish up, we had one question that I definitely wanted to get to because it picked out. Bit of rumours during the week, maybe about Cyborg signing for the UFC.
Oh, yes.
What do you think is the plan with her? If she signs with the UFC, do you book her against Miesha Tate immediately at UFC 200? And that kind of capitalises into the last, or do you book the home Tate rematch? That was from @Ian Thornton MMA, but there was also a follow-up about UFC 200. I just can't see it here. How many title fights do you think are going to be on UFC 200? That was from Robert Mannion.
I think 2 and an interim title fight.
2 and an interim title fight.
Actually, no.
What do we do with Cyborg?
No, with McGregor and Diaz now there won't be 2. I think just 2 altogether. Cyborg is not going to fight. He's not going to fight Tate for the title. I think she's going to be fighting at 140 or 145, and it looks like Kat Zingano is going to be the one she's fighting. I think
that'd be nice.
Yeah,
I could get behind that. Would watch.
I don't think it's going to be UFC 200 either.
Oh,
it's like 199.
Yeah, I saw someone saying it could be beforehand. 198 in Brazil.
And that's good. Do you like Cyborg?
198 in Brazil. We needed to. Why didn't we mention that? Anderson Silva fighting Uriah Hall. Mm-hmm. Oh. We'll talk about it at length next week. There's a couple.
Sean called it.
Couple of good fights that have been announced. We're going to get through them all in the next week. But as always, thank you very much for listening. An hour and 28 minutes in the book. 3:16, stone cold. Right now, Sean. Yeah, beautiful.
My laptop's still fucked, so it's 3:20 here for me.
But no matter where you're listening around the world, what time, date, place, age, location, ASL, hey, do you want a cyber sex chat in the checkers room? Let's go. But anyway, thank you very much for listening. Indeed. As always, thank you to BeanieBasher.com, a fun, affordable hand-eye coordination tool, £10 only. BeanieBasher.com, they will ship worldwide. And if you ask them nicely, they may even include a handwritten little note to send in your package as well. If you want to get in touch with us over the next week, though, we're over on, tell you what, Sean, the social media man in me is kicking out after going to Gary Vaynerchuk tomorrow. SevereMMA is on Instagram. SevereMMA is on Snapchat. SevereMMA podcast is on Facebook. We're on. We have our Severe Facebook page as well. at SevereMMA Pod on Twitter. If you want to ask any questions over the next week, send us a tweet at SevereMMA Pod or use the hashtag SeverePod, and I will search for all of them as well, and we will get right on it. Anyway,
tweet out the podcast as well.
The what?
Tweet out the podcast, include this at SevereMMA Pod, and we will retweet it.
Yeah, we'll retweet you, we'll follow you, we'll do all of the good shit. Ninja shit, American ninja shit,
Irish ninja,
Gaiden
real
ninja,
ninja.
real ninja podcast, real podcast ninjas. Like we'll take you on. We're not scared, homie. We're not surprised, motherfucker. We're not surprised that it's one of the most successful MMA podcasts in Europe, and we're not surprised that it's one of the best MMA podcasts just in general, for a bit of laugh and a bit of crack. Until then, though, Sean, what are you planning for the next 6 to 7 days until I hear your beautiful voice again? Well, no, I'll hear your voice before then, but in a recorded format.
Yeah, I'm on a little bit of a hiatus now from MMA. There's no event or anything coming up, so I'm just...
The interlull.
Oh, yeah, I'm just taking a break from it all. Just doing nothing. I'm going to be writing nothing.
Uncompressing.
Doing nothing, yeah.
Or
I need a break.
What?
I need a break from it all. So here comes my break now over the next 7 days.
Enjoy.
I'm going to do nothing until you come.
Nothing. Gonna do nothing.
Yeah, I've already the article written on MMA being legalised, saved in drafts just to put it up. So if you see that doesn't count.
Anyway, thank you very much for tuning in. And as always...
At Sean Sheehan BA, at Andrew McGahan _.
No, you were meant to say, and we'll see you next week. But if you want to follow us on Twitter, then please do. At Andrew McGahan _, at SevereMMA Pod, at SevereMMA, at Pizza Carol, at Dave Fogarty, random numbers, whatever the fuck it is after that. At Ryan O'Connor, at Sean Sheehan BA, the whole crew of Severe MMA. And finally, once again, thank you. Anybody that came up to me yesterday afterwards at Gary Vaynerchuk at all of those events saying that they love the podcast, they love the site. I've taken it all on board. We really, 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 to the bottom of our cold bitter hearts, appreciate every single bit of love that we get for all of the work that we put in. We're fighting the good fight here against, you'll never believe what Conor McGregor did yesterday. Click here to find out.
The news we all regretted. The news we all hoped would never happen.
Oh no, the rematch nobody wanted to see has been booked for UFC 200.
Oh my god.
8 things that'll make you wish you never moved out of Dublin. Oh,
you'll never guess who Conor McGregor's fighting next week.
You'll never guess what Conor McGregor posted on his Instagram today.
Vin Diesel has something to say about Conor McGregor's rematch.
Conor McGregor's pulled out of a movie. Guess what one it is?
Conor McGregor just took a shit.
Conor McGregor took a second shit for the day.
See you next week.